at video@myabc7.com.
Welcome to World News. Tonight, Congress comes back to Washington, prepared for a new battle with President Bush over Iraq. One administration official saying the White House is now in panic mode. Scorched earth. Wildfires are burning almost 1 million acres in 10 states as a dangerous wave of triple-digit heat scorches millions of people. Water pollution. How the nation's growing thirst for bottled water is putting the environment in danger. We'll take a closer look. And an animated debate. Springfields of America compete to solve one of the longest-running mysteries on television. Where do the Simpsons live?
From ABC News headquarters, this is World News with Charles Gibson.
Good evening. There is a storm brewing in Washington again over Iraq. Congress is back in the city. Members have listened to constituents during the holiday break, and while the president is commander-in-chief, Congress may well try to issue some orders on Iraq. A growing number of Republicans now say they want a new strategy for the war. In other words, the number of problems for the president is rising while his support is falling. So we start tonight with Jake Tapper on Capitol Hill. Jake?
Good evening, Charlie. Well, this renewed debate about the war comes at an inopportune time for President Bush, with a report due to Congress this week that will indicate just how little progress the Iraqi government has made, and increasing numbers of Republicans having just called for a new course for the war. Members of Congress spent last week being confronted daily by the impact of the war. Today it was a funeral in Santa Fe, New Mexico for 21-year-old Army Corporal Joel Dahl. Killed in a firefight in South Baghdad, Corporal Dahl will never meet his 11-day-old son, Caden.
I'm finding that my constituents' patience is pretty much exhausted. They're very disturbed by the high casualty rates.
Republican Senator Susan Collins last week attended the funeral of Sergeant Joel House, killed by an IED. Today, she said she's lost confidence in the president's leadership.
And if the president isn't willing to adopt a new strategy, then perhaps we in Congress have to impose it on him.
And hers is one voice in a growing Republican chorus.
Americans and most senators want a new strategy, a different strategy.
Democrats, too, are under pressure from their constituents who are disappointed that they haven't brought U.S. troops home.
But I understand the feelings of the American people that we haven't done enough because we haven't done enough.
So this week, Democrats will push several amendments to a Pentagon spending bill, including cutting off funding for U.S. combat troops after April 2008, changing the mission and beginning the withdrawal of U.S. combat troops within 4 months, and rescinding the 2002 war authorization. For now, most Republicans seem opposed to these efforts.
It's certainly my goal to prevent an undercutting of this efforts right when we are sending the troops there to do their mission. They're in harm's way.
But time is not on the president's side. As Republican Senator Olympia Snowe today considered how far she's willing to go, she was notified of another soldier from her home state killed in Iraq just hours before.
Why should our men and women be dying on the ground each and every day, at a time in which the Iraqi government has not demonstrated a capability or a willingness to implement its goals?
And Charlie, Senator Snowe told me today, quote, the tide has turned and the president needs to understand that, she said, because events are not changing for the better. Charlie?
All right, Jake Tapper reporting tonight from Capitol Hill. The administration has been able to outflank opponents on the war so far. But this time, our chief White House correspondent, Martha Raddatz, is joining me. So, Martha, we're in for another round of battles on Capitol Hill over Iraq. How worried is the White House about this round?
They are extremely worried, Charlie. Tony Snow will not say that on camera, but I've talked to several White House officials, one who said we are in panic mode. They're trying to come up with some sort of compromise. There have been very high-level meetings here at the White House and across the river to try to figure out some way to appease the Democrats and stop the flow of Republicans away from the White House position.
But Jake just outlined some of the amendments they're going to consider: cutting funding, starting withdrawal of troops, reversing the authorization for the war itself. We've seen you need 60 votes in the Senate to pass some of these amendments. Do they really think there are 60 votes there that might pass any of these amendments? How much do they really feel they have to compromise?
Well, they're not so worried about those things passing, Charlie, but they see the mood in the country, they see the mood on the Hill, and they think something has to change. There are some commanders who believe you have to come up with a new strategy. There is some friction between commanders, and there is some friction in the White House. Some say that the president is continuing to dig in his heels despite appeals from others in the White House.
Now, Jake also mentioned that there is a report due. It's a Pentagon report, but comes on over the president's signature on progress in Iraq this week on Capitol Hill. Is there going to be anything good to report?
Not much, Charlie. They can say militarily they've made some gains. There aren't really going to be any surprises in this report, but it is the political progress that has absolutely stalled, and that is key to all of this, and that is why the White House is so worried.
All right, Martha Raddatz reporting tonight from the White House. So that's one issue. Will the White House have to compromise on strategy in Iraq, or does it have the vote still to carry on the war as is? And then there's another question. Can the military carry on the war as is? Our national security correspondent, Jonathan Karl, also joins us tonight. So, John, can the military carry out the current strategy, the surge, indefinitely?
Well, Charlie, there is near unanimous support among the military leadership of maintaining the surge at least for a while. But there is also a near unanimous view that the surge cannot go on beyond the spring, because if they have to extend current force levels past April of next year, the military will be forced to again extend deployments in Iraq. That means forcing soldiers to spend up to 18 months on the ground at a time in Iraq. So those that are now saying they have to stay the course are saying they can only stay the course for a little while longer.
And an ominous sign pointing to all that, I gather the Army has missed its recruiting numbers for the last couple of months.
Yes, this is the first time the Army has missed its monthly recruiting goal back-to-back in over 2 years. This is especially worrisome because it's the summer. That's the prime recruiting season. Army officials are now saying that they may miss their year-end recruiting goal for 2007, despite the fact, Charlie, that they are now offering big new incentives, $25,000 bonuses, and more for each new recruit.
All right, Jonathan Karl reporting from the Pentagon. Thanks to you as well. So that will dominate the news this week, the battle over Iraq on Capitol Hill. Meanwhile, President Bush raised the stakes today in another battle with Congress over the firings of 9 federal prosecutors. Former White House political director Sarah Taylor and former White House counsel Harriet Miers were both scheduled to testify before Congress this week. But today, White House counsel Fred Fielding told Congress the two would not comply with subpoenas, as he asserted executive privilege to protect, he said, a fundamental interest of the presidency. The Democratic leader of the Senate Judiciary Committee called it White House stonewalling. It is still hot, dry, and very dangerous across much of the West tonight, with wildfires burning in 10 states. The fires have already burned close to 1 million acres, and the state of Utah is now facing the largest wildfire in its history. And ABC's Eric Hong is there tonight.
Pete Yardley's family has been running cattle through these rolling hills for nearly a century. A tough job that's just gotten a whole lot tougher.
It'll have a great effect on my livelihood for at least the next 2 years. Can't eat what's not here.
This vital artery is now impassable, consumed by a menacing brush fire that's as large as it is fierce. In less than 48 hours, the blaze went from a spark ignited by lightning to a wind-whipped inferno that's burned at least 300,000 acres.
Everything's lined up. We call it the lining up of the planets. I mean, you look at your fuels, you look at your weather, you look at the fact that there's very little moisture past or in the future.
In the past 2.5 months, parts of central Utah have received less than an inch of rain. It's created the perfect fuel for this insatiable fire. Making matters worse, a heat wave. Triple-digit temperatures baking so many western states, making lands ripe for fire. In Hot Springs, South Dakota, an 11-square-mile blaze killed at least 1 person and scorched 27 homes. In Nevada, 1,500 evacuees are returning home after a 25,000-acre fire destroyed an electrical substation, delayed trains, and shut down Interstate 80. And in Southern California, 6,500 acres burning in the Los Padres National Forest.
It almost has to be one of the worst fire seasons on record because we haven't had as dry and as hot conditions for 20 or 30 years.
With little or no rain expected soon throughout the region, firefighters and others like Pete Yardley are digging in.
What other choice do these ranchers have but keep it together, keep going? I mean, we haven't been here this long because we quit.
Safety zone, freeway. A fight that's just begun. The peak of fire season is still weeks away. Eric Hong, ABC News, Cove Fort, Utah.
And even without fire, it was burning hot today for millions of people. The heat that seared the West last week is now arriving in the East. As the high temperatures and high humidity spread, cities from Chicago to Baltimore to New York were taking action, issuing heat advisories, opening cooling centers, and bringing in extra utility crews. The forecast for tomorrow, the same as today. And an update now on our report Friday on the controversy at the National Hurricane Center. Today, embattled director of the center, Bill Proenza, was moved off to another job. Many of his co-workers said he shook public confidence in the center by exaggerating problems with a weather satellite. And still ahead on World News, America's unquenchable thirst for bottled water. Cool, refreshing, and doing so much damage. We'll take a closer look. The new jetliner that snaps together a little bit like a giant toy. It's a radical departure with so much riding on it. And the Simpson family secret. Just where do they live? And why are real towns fighting for the honor?
This is World News with Charles Gibson. Brought to you by Kellogg's Smart Start.
What's your cereal's IQ? It's an odd question, but some cereals are brighter than others. When it comes to your heart, Smart Start is pretty intelligent. It's designed to help lower cholesterol. Smart, right? But what makes it a heart health scholar? It has 60% less sodium than the leading instant oatmeal, too. Pretty simple and very smart. And did I tell you how great it tastes? I didn't? How dumb of me.
Kellogg's Smart Start Healthy Heart Cinnamon Raisin. For your heart, start smart.
If you use those over-the-counter drops several times a day, you may have chronic dry eye due to decreased tear production without knowing it, like me. And my doctor prescribed Restasis.
With continued use, Restasis helps increase your natural ability to produce tears, which may be reduced by inflammation due to chronic dry eye. It should not be used by patients with active eye infections and has not been studied in patients with a history of herpes viral infections of the eye. The most common side effect is a temporary burning sensation.
More of my own tears. Thanks, Restasis.
It fuels our lives and creates the products we depend on. It powers our workforce. It brings us home and gives us warmth. It lets us travel the earth and reach for the sky. Vital for life, too precious to waste. Oil and natural gas. Together, let's use it wisely. Learn more at energytomorrow.org.
You've just won $10 million in the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes.
Would you like to be a Publishers Clearinghouse winner tomorrow?
I can't believe it!
Now you can, because there's a new winner every day.
I can't believe I won!
You could even win the big one, $10 million.
Thank you so much.
Go to PCH.com, enter today, win tomorrow.
I didn't think this was real.
Or watch your mail.
Yeah, girl, they're here.
Enter today, and our next $10 million winner could be you.
I lost my job and my health insurance. The first thought was, how am I going to get my medication I need? I was in a lot of trouble.
If you're uninsured and struggling, America's pharmaceutical companies want to help. Call 1-888-4PPA now to see if you may qualify.
PPA saves me $1,300 a month.
We've been to nearly 1,000 cities in all 50 states, helping more than 3 million people in need.
Without my wife and PPA, I don't know if I could have been here today.
The Partnership for Prescription Assistance, on the road to helping you.
Tonight, rethinking something as close to you as your kitchen, your desk, or maybe your car cup holder. Maybe there's one in your hand right now. I'm talking about a bottle of water. Americans drink more bottled water than they do milk, coffee, or beer. And there is a problem. It's not with the water itself, but those plastic bottles in which it comes. What do you do with 50 billion bottles? And what do they do to the environment? ABC's Ryan Owens has our closer look.
It was 96 degrees at the International Jazz Festival in Salt Lake City this weekend, but you couldn't buy a bottle of water. The crowds had to quench their thirst with jugs full of iced tap water served in recyclable cups. Salt Lake City's mayor will not allow bottled water to be served at the event. He calls it the greatest marketing scam in history and will not use city funds to buy it.
We just need to get away from these wasteful, environmentally disastrous consumer
habits that have been developed and get back to drinking water out of the tap.
The rule even applies to the city's firefighters, who now have a special valve they can plug into a fire hydrant to hydrate themselves. In San Francisco, several fancy restaurants have banned the bottle.
It seems kind of foolish to be serving water in glass or plastic bottles when we have great tap water here.
Foolish or not, last year Americans drank 50 billion bottles of water, throwing away an average of 167 per person. There are billions and billions and billions of these that end up in landfills every year.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that, but I do recycle.
But most people don't. Only 1 in 5 of these bottles ends up at a recycling center like this. The vast majority, some 38 billion last year alone, end up at landfills, where scientists can only guess could take 1,000 years for them to break down. There's an environmental cost long before that. Experts estimate it requires 462 million gallons of oil to ship and truck all those bottles to a store near you.
Bottled water is something that you wouldn't suspect would have a significant environmental impact.
The bottled water industry says it's being singled out.
Any effort to reduce the environmental impact of packaging has to focus on all consumer goods and not just target bottled water.
The next time you pick up a bottle, its label covered with pristine mountain water and glaciers. Keep in mind, you may be doing more than quenching your thirst. Ryan Owens, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And there are other things to keep in mind if you're looking for ways to conserve. We've posted some ideas, especially for the summer, at our website, abcnews.com. And when we come back, the future of air travel is finally getting off the ground. Why it's like no other plane you've ever flown.
Are you like me? I have high blood pressure and I have high cholesterol. Sometimes problems come in twos, but sometimes help can come in one. Catawit.
Catawit contains the leading branded blood pressure medicine Norvasc and Lipitor, the leading branded cholesterol medicine combined in one pill, Catawit.
Catawit is one of many treatment options I discussed with my doctor. Ask your doctor if Catawit's right for you. Along with diet and exercise, one pill doing 2 jobs for me. My doctor said Catawit's not for everyone. It's not for people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. To check for liver problems, you need simple blood tests. Tell your doctor about any heart problems and all other medications you are taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. For blood pressure and cholesterol lowering benefits, it's Catawit. 1 pill, 2 medicines. Makes sense to you, makes sense to me. Ask your doctor if Catawit's right for you.
In the future, everyone will protect their eyes from sun damage like they protect their skin. Transitions lenses. They automatically adjust to changing light and block harmful UV rays and glare. So don't wait until tomorrow. The danger is here today, and so is the protection. Ask your eye care professional about Transitions. Transitions lenses are approved by the American Optometric Association.
Are you getting enough fiber in your diet? To get the 25 to 30 grams of daily fiber that's recommended, what else would you have time for? That's why there's Fiber Choice, the chewable fiber supplement. You'd need more than 3 bottles of the leading fiber supplement at 3 times the price to get the same amount. And now try Fiber Choice Plus Multivitamins, the only fiber supplement with a complete multivitamin in each serving. Try Fiber Choice and new Fiber Choice Plus Multivitamins.
That ought to do it.
Assuming you've done enough for retirement doesn't make much sense either. That's why you should invest with Edward Jones to make sure you're on the right track.
I'm Dottie Major, and this is my story. When you say Dottie, you say dance. It's just me. I realized I had this Mr. Arthritis about a year ago. Believe makes the difference for me, so I can just keep on dancing.
Tomorrow, who says crime doesn't pay? 23 banks are robbed somewhere in the U.S. every day, and these masked men and women are getting away with it. Why is it so hard to stop these often brazen bandits? Find out on World News with Charles Gibson.
The UN's nuclear watchdog group says Iran has scaled back on the number of centrifuges it plans to use for uranium enrichment. But new satellite photos show Iran is digging massive tunnels near its facility at Natanz, the centerpiece of its nuclear program. Military analysts say the tunnels could be used to protect the site from attack. Now to a flight in your future. Boeing has given the public its first look at the 787 Dreamliner, its first new model in a dozen years. The company calls it a green flying machine, and sales are out of this world. The Dreamliner is already the most successful new plane ever. Boeing bet heavily on this plane. Their bet seems to be paying off. Here's ABC's Neil Karlinski.
Boeing's new 787 has yet to travel farther than the slow ride between hangars, but it's already such a hit the plane has raked in more than $100 billion in orders and is sold out through the year 2015. As of today, 47 airlines worldwide have ordered 677 planes, the most ever.
This is a huge, big deal. It's hard to overstate it.
The 787 is the first commercial plane made mostly of high-tech composites instead of metal. You can't see the difference, but you sure can feel it. The plane actually feels a lot like plastic. Boeing says that's misleading. They say this plane is actually much stronger than a traditional aluminum airplane.
Aluminum has some issues. It fatigues and it corrodes, and that drives a lot of maintenance costs into maintaining and operating an airplane, and composites don't do either of that.
The company says the lightweight construction also means it's 20% more fuel efficient than other planes.
If I'm flying a 787 and I have a 15% cost advantage over American Airlines that's flying 767s, American Airlines is going to say, excuse me, I can't operate this way. I got to have the airplane.
Boeing has also managed to lower production costs by outsourcing. The 787 is the first Boeing jet literally built around the world. Wings from Japan, mid-fuselage from Italy, flaps from Australia. Detailed components, large and small, from nearly a dozen locations, all flown to a Boeing plant north of Seattle, where they are snapped together piece by piece. The end result is a jet that is propelling the entire company ahead of rival Airbus, which lost ground by betting on the new double-decker A380 just as oil prices have spiked and made the 787 even more attractive. Now, with one plane on the tarmac and more than $100 billion in orders on the books, the 787 just has to prove it can fly. Neil Karlinski, ABC News, Everett, Washington.
Some ball players made like superheroes when a mighty wind blew up during yesterday's rain delay in Denver. It was a wild scene when a tarp went haywire and when some groundskeepers got tangled in the tarp. Some of the visiting Philadelphia Phillies sprang into action to save the day. The players got a standing ovation, and the Phils went on to beat the Rockies 8-4. When we come back, after 18 years and hundreds of episodes, a nationwide attempt to solve the mystery of The Simpsons.
This is my mother, and this is my grandmother. Both my mom and my grandmother would experience bloating, irregularity. When I started having problems, I asked my mom about it, and she told me about Activia. I tried it, and I'm hooked. Ooh, yum, yum.
Dannon Activia, with the natural culture Bifidus regularis, is clinically proven to help regulate your digestive system in 2 weeks.
This is when I get sad, because it's gone.
Help naturally regulate your digestive system.
Announcing the Lincoln Summer Drive Sales Event. Drive off with the best values of the year on our best models ever, including the Lincoln MKX Luxury Crossover, the redesigned Lincoln Navigator, and the Lincoln MKZ, the highest ranked entry premium car in initial quality, according to J.D. Power & Associates. Lease the award-winning Lincoln MKZ now for only $329 a month. The Lincoln Summer Drive Sales Event, the best values of the year at your Lincoln Mercury dealer.
Commanding dozens of men under the most critical circumstances, Jim is a formidable man. But he was no match for something smaller than a drop of water. It KO'd Jim so fast he didn't know what hit him. It was a clot. Like Jim, if you've been hospitalized with heart-related chest pain or a certain type of heart attack, what doctors call ACS, chances are you've had a clot. But now, Jim's doctor is helping increase Jim's protection against heart attack or stroke by putting Jim on Plavix. Plavix, taken with other heart medicines, helps provide greater protection against heart attack or stroke than other heart medicines alone by helping keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots.
If you have a stomach ulcer or other condition that causes bleeding, you should not use Plavix. When taking Plavix alone or with some
some medicines, including aspirin, the risk of bleeding may increase. To minimize this risk, always talk to your doctor before taking aspirin or other medicines with Plavix, especially if you've had a stroke. Additional rare but serious side effects could occur.
Ask your doctor about Plavix today, because no matter how formidable you are, you're no match for a dangerous clot.
Did you know 1 in 2 women will develop bone or breast health issues?
Really? I didn't know that.
One A Day Women's is the only complete multivitamin with more calcium for strong bones, and now more vitamin D, which emerging research suggests may support breast health. One A Day Women's.
Heartburn? Painful. Zantac.
Okay.
Zantac quickly relieves heartburn. Better?
Completely.
Zantac's fast. Heartburn?
Yeah.
Prescription.
Slow.
The leading prescription can take a day or more to fully work.
Zantac.
Better. Zantac's fast. For heartburn, Zantac's fast.
So what is iCaught?
iCaught.
iCaught. And why will everyone be talking about it? Watching it, clicking it, millions and millions will do it. So what is iCaught? Go to abcnews.com, click on iCaught, and see.
How do you explain it when you look at your own children and even after years of being together, you simply don't recognize their faces? Couldn't pick them out in a crowd. Tomorrow, the baffling medical mystery affecting this whole family. You have to see it to believe it on Good Morning America.
Finally tonight, where do the Simpsons live? We know they live in Springfield, but which Springfield? Well, the Simpsons movie is soon to come out, and the producers, no cartoon characters they, have created a contest for Springfields across the country to compete. Convince us you're the Simpsons, Springfield, and you can host the movie's premiere. City fathers all over the country have taken the bait. Here's John Berman.
For Simpsons fans, it is the great cartoon controversy. Where exactly is Springfield?
Springfield, right here.
Dad, you're not pointing anywhere near Springfield. It's over here, Apu. Hey, what you doing?
Now, 14 real-life American Springfields have submitted videos trying to prove that they are the inspiration for that TV town with a dysfunctional nuclear power plant, a dysfunctional government,
Sir, there's an unruly mob to see it.
Does it have an appointment?
and a few dysfunctional families. In Springfield, New Jersey, they sang. In Springfield, Louisiana, they painted themselves yellow. And in Springfield, Vermont, a real-life Homer chased a giant donut. But in Springfield, Illinois, they took it to a whole different level. They passed a resolution declaring themselves the Simpson Springfield, saying, whereas both Springfields are in close proximity to a town named Shelbyville, whereas both Springfields have a donut connection.
Donuts.
In Illinois, there's a factory called Mellow Cream. Whereas Todd Renfro, general manager of Springfield City Water, Light and Power, bears a remarkable likeness to Montgomery Burns.
Excellent.
The mayor is quite confident.
I would have to say to the competition, eat my shorts.
We'll see who eats whose shorts at the end of the day.
In Springfield, Massachusetts, they point out they have a bridge like the Simpsons, a statue that looks suspiciously like town founder Jebediah Springfield, and perhaps most of all,
I promise swift and decisive action against
a politician that sounds an awful lot like Mayor Quimby.
Enjoy some real chowder.
Will the new movie somehow solve this heated debate? Maybe not.
Look at that. You can see the 4 states that border Springfield: Ohio, Nevada, Maine, and Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
In the end, we all like to sit on the couch, we all like donuts, and we're all a little bit dysfunctional. Maybe we all live in Springfield. John Berman, ABC News, Springfield.
And that is World News for this Monday. I'm Charlie Gibson, and I hope you had a good day. For all of us at ABC News, have a good night.
What secret did these 2 girls hide from their families that shocked the country? The Barbie Bandits.
They don't know the whole story.
She says they robbed a bank, then went shopping at the mall. And oh, that's not all. Now, this Tuesday at 10, shh, their secret's out.
Made for the movies, twins separated at birth. How this fairy tale reunion happened.
I'm speechless.
Next Oprah. Tomorrow at 3 here on ABC 7.
The subs are back.
Come live your dream with the all-new Finding Nemo submarine voyage, now resurfacing at the Disneyland Resort, the place where dreams come true.
When the weather is hot and power shortages threaten our state, we all know it's vital to conserve energy. That's why Californians should take pride for saving so much electricity during power shortages. Of course, officials could still call a flex alert. If they do, start saving energy immediately. It's the right way to save California from blackouts today and global warming tomorrow.